So, today we conclude our theme that we've been working on for just over a month now, April showers, now into May, so time for a new theme next week. So our theme has been about blessings. Blessings that pour upon us, that express through us, in us, as us, and from us. Blessings we extend from ourselves to other people. We just extend these blessings. And so today's title is From the Basement to the Penthouse. That's an interesting title. Yeah. So now what can basements and penthouses have to do with blessings? Well, a whole lot. Because the basements and the blessing and the penthouses are metaphors. They're all metaphors for where we hang out in our mind. Where are we hanging out in our mind? Life is, and we said this last week from Ernest Holmes, life is either a blessing or a curse according to what we make of it. And this is what the Buddha meant when he said, all we are is the result of all we have thought. And that's what Jesus meant when he said, it is done unto you as you believe. And Ernest Holmes, when he said, change your thinking, change your life. Spiritual truth, my friends, is spiritual truth. It's the same across all lines. It is what is eternal. And you can feel it. You can feel that it feels right. It feels correct. And more than just thinking, it's really the sum total of our consciousness. And what we might ask really is consciousness? Well, my definition is it's a combination of our thoughts, our feelings, our attitudes, our beliefs, our actions, our feelings, and all that we do, our values, what we value. And what is in our consciousness, we experience in our lives. So we truly are, whether we like it or not, creators of our experiences. Ernest Holmes tells us in Science of Mind book, whatever we think, act, believe in, feel, visualize, vision, imagine, read, and talk about, in fact, all process which affect or impress us at all are going into the subjective state of our thought. And whatever goes into the subjective state of our thought, this is Ernest Holmes, tends to return again as some condition. So we, and we alone, control our destiny. We truly do. And that's how powerful we are. And that's why this teaching is so wonderful, because it is empowering. It is allowing us to know that we always have choice. We are always at choice. So what does the basement of consciousness really symbolize? And it's pretty obvious if we just take it as a metaphor. Some basement qualities, and I don't mean the refinished basements with the home theaters and all of the other stuff. I just mean a regular basement, a basement. You think of darkness, I do anyway. So what are some of the qualities of a basement consciousness then? They would be negative emotions, dominant awareness, fear, intimidation, instant perceptions of hostility, easily take offense, sense of separation, or even victimhood. How many of us have lived? I remember I lived many years, most of my life, although now but thank God I'm halfway through that. So this half has been really great because I became aware that I am not a victim. That first bunch of years, victim consciousness. What else did you know? What else did I know? So the great empowerment is to know that we do not have to stay in victim consciousness. Things were not done to us, they were done for us. And when we get that shift, everything changes. Everything changes. Do we feel blessed when we're hanging out in that basement consciousness? I sure don't. So what about some penthouse qualities? Penthouse consciousness qualities are understanding of ourselves as spiritual beings, living with feelings of well-being, faith, love, compassion, joy, peace, all of those great high-vibrating, high-energetic qualities. Understanding that the ability of spirit to do for us is always taking place by how we can express through us. Are we blocking through those basement qualities, blocking that flow of divine energy? That's what we need to ask ourselves when we're in those situations where we just don't feel good. We don't feel it's right. And some of the other qualities of the penthouse are the inherent belief of the goodness of life, that life truly is good. Awake to who and what we really are. We are heirs to the kingdom of the divine all of the time. And we feel a little bit more blessed when we're hanging out in this higher vibration. And since everything's energy, everything vibrates. So when we're in the penthouse consciousness, we are vibrating at that higher realm of our being. So how do we move from the basement to the penthouse and thereby experience a blessed life? Well, I'm going to quote Wayne Dyer. He once said, "The elevator to success is closed today. We have to take the stairs, one step at a time." And so today I'm going to talk about 3 steps, or 3 flights of stairs. So the very first one is, resist not what is. It is what it is. We say this a lot. I say it all the time. It is what it is. It is what it is. And when you really think about it is what it is, what am I going to do is the second part of that. And it's only for now. Remember that. It is what it is for now. It's not going to stay that way. It never does. It will shift, it will change, it will move. But it is what it is. And what happens from this then is that we move out of resistance, because resistance keeps us blocked. And if you think about it, what we resist, we know it persists, but we're giving it much more energy. So it is what it is. Okay, what can I do? Ernest Holmes tells us in this, it is from his reading called The Sermon by the Sea. Let us be a people who are for something and against nothing. And Jesus said, resist not evil. And in our New Thought definition, evil is simply wrong thinking. It's erroneous thinking. And from the standpoint of creation, I'm really getting why we don't really want to resist, as I said before, the what isness of life. Because we don't want to create more of the same thing. So, I'd like you to say after me, I accept what is for now.
I accept what is for now.
And that for now is really important part of that. These stairs from the basement to the penthouse are really more like a pyramid when we think about it, rather than a staircase. Each step is a foundation on which the next step is to follow. So that brings us to the second flight of stairs. Adopt the attitude that the universe is conspiring for my greater good. The universe is always conspiring for our good. And I always love that. So please say with me, the universe is conspiring for my good.
The universe is conspiring for my good.
So we had new cards made up. We have postcards. We always have them. We have them outside. You should have them in your bulletin. And what affirmation to use? So, the great affirmation on our new postcards: the universe supports me every day in every way. So we put that up, and so when we forget, we remember. We put it someplace so we remember. We give it to people so they remember. Where am I here? Okay, Ernest Holmes again. Ernest Holmes tells us, I love Ernest Holmes, there is nothing in the universe that limits you, or that would, or could, this is so good, could desire to limit you. There is nothing in the universe that withholds from you, because in doing so, it would withhold from itself. You are some part of its purpose. We're part of God's purpose. Therefore, the Spirit seeks, urges, and pushes against you to fulfill itself. That is empowering right there. The universal force of good, God, whatever you want to call it, Spirit, pushes to express itself in and through us. And it wouldn't be complete unless each and every one of us were here fulfilling our purpose, which is to be who we are. To be who we are. Moving up to the penthouse consciousness means that no matter what is going on around, we continue to know that universal good is taking place. It might not feel like it, it may not look like it, but for me it's always there's a lesson in this. I know there's a lesson in this. Sometimes, I will never say there's a gift in this, because a lot of times it sure doesn't feel like a gift, but there's always a lesson to learn for our own up-leveling of our consciousness. There's always something, no matter what is going on around us, there is always something we can learn. A man lived by the side of the road and sold hot dogs. He was hard of hearing, so he couldn't listen to the radio. He had trouble with his eyes, so he didn't read newspapers or watch TV. He was really happy selling his hot dogs. He put up a big sign on the highway telling how great they were. He stood by the side of the road and cried, "Hey, do you want to buy a really good hot dog?" And people came and they bought these hot dogs. And so he increased his order for meat and buns to take care of his trade. Then one day his son came home from college to help him. His well-meaning son said, "Dad, haven't you heard about the recession? The news about the recession? The economy's really bad. The unemployment situation is terrible, and the energy situation is even worse." Whereupon the hot dog man thought, well, my son's been to college. He reads the newspapers and listens to the radio and TV. He should know. So the father cut down on the meat and bun order. He took down his advertisement signs, no longer bothered to stand by the side of the road asking, "Do you want to buy my hot dogs?" And his hot dog sales fell almost overnight. "You're right, son," he said. "We certainly are in the middle of a bad recession." Don't let the naysayers stand in your way. Everyone has an opinion. They're all entitled to it. It doesn't have to color our perception. It does not have to change the way we are perceiving life if we are moving in that direction of that penthouse consciousness. And so we start, sometimes we have to go in the opposite direction. When things start changing for the better, sometimes we self-sabotage. And we don't want to do that either. We have to be aware of our tendencies. We think it's too good to be true. We're afraid we'll jinx it. Oh, this is going to end at some point, you know. At some point, this will all end. So no, nothing is too good to last. Nothing is too wonderful to happen, and I deserve it. I deserve, this is for all of us, all the good, all the happiness, all the prosperity, all the peace, and all the joy I can hold in my consciousness. I deserve it by right of my birthright. Each and every one of us deserves that. And then we move to the third flight of stairs, choosing to have a spiritual experience with life. And sometimes we may need some help with this. Little letter. Dear God, so far today, I've done all right. I have not gossiped at all. Today, I have not lost my temper, been greedy, been grumpy, nasty, selfish, or overindulgent. I am thankful for that. And I'm going to get out of bed in a moment, and now I'm going to really need your help. So, things, when we're going through life, life has challenges, you know? And again, the first flight of stairs, it is what it is. But we keep moving. It's a motto for my life. We keep moving one step in front of the other, and we keep going in forward direction. We keep moving forward. We don't go backwards. No, we just don't. Now this is kind of a long reading, but it's good. This is from Ernest Holmes again. This is so good. We need spiritual experience, he says. Our first-hand knowledge of life and beauty. There is no medium between God and us. Nothing between life and living, between heaven and hell, but an idea. It's the only thing, an idea or thoughts. But an idea has no real value until it becomes an experience. In conversation, we assume great knowledge of religion and philosophy, but how much do we really experience? We can only know that which we experience, he says. All great religions have taught truth, but it means nothing to us unless it becomes our truth. We have to own it, right? We need spiritual experience. We shall never know peace until we embody it. We shall never know truth until we become truth. We cannot know God unless we sense God within our own being. The Spirit is ever giving, but we must take. We must take. What life does for us must be done through us. Spiritual experience is deep, he says, calm and self-assertive. It is the result of actually realizing that presence which binds all together in the complete whole. Spiritual experience is a fact. It springs from within, coming from that never-failing fountain of life, which quenches every thirst, whose source is in eternity. The wellspring of self-existence, it is the revelation of the self to the self. That's why I love Holmes. Putting us back on track of our own self-dependence on spirit, our own at-one-ment with reality. These beautiful words, these are so powerful that we truly have that power to live and choose to live a spiritual life. They're good counsel, these words. And we begin to dwell on the magnitude of the universe, how many stars there are, how many grains of sand, and in the sea, how many waves, how many fish. I mean, it's an abundant universe that we live in. We think, we see, we feel. This activity resonates. It resonates life. We live life to its fullest, knowing that all we ever need is truly, truly within us. And until we arrive at that belief on a deep level where we embody it, we cannot really experience it. If we face our lives from a penthouse consciousness, then whatever comes along won't bring us back down into that basement. Instead, it will bless us. It will bless us. So remember, first flight of steps, accepting what is, and establishing the foundation for the base. And this is what we must do first and all the time. Next, by choosing to believe that the universe is conspiring for our good, we lift up out of the basement. We look at life in a whole different perspective when we know this power that we call God. We can call whatever we want, but this power, this energy, is always for us, pushing us, moving us forward. Finally, on that third flight, by making a conscious decision to live a spiritual life with all that we do, we reach the point in that pyramid. We reach the point in that pyramid where that view is just astounding, and it cannot exist. We can't even get to the top without the first 2 flights of stairs. So all of this works together. It all works in moving us forward in our life. But the view from the top is pretty spectacular. We might even say that from this viewpoint, we are absolutely, completely, and fully blessed. And so we just stay in that atmosphere, that place of knowing that we are supported, guided, and loved, and know that we are blessed this day and every day. So it is.